Hi, my name is Jared. I'm going to give a quick bio of myself. I am from Brea, California. I have a job at Chess Masters. I go to Brea High School, went to Brea High School. My birthday is 02/17/1993. I have 2 brothers and 1 sister. Yeah, brothers. Probably curious why I'm saying this. Half of you guys aren't even listening. Wow, you guys are all listening. You probably could have figured this out yourself. How many of you have Facebook? None of you? That's cool. You guys are familiar with the term Facebook stalking. It's really creepy. What happens is you guys learn about people without actually speaking with them. So yeah, it's really creepy, and that's going to lead me to my main claim. Social networks such as Facebook have negative effects on student behavior. I got 3 points. The first one, social networks, it damages people's images of themselves. Second one, social networks, they distract students from school. And the third one, they fail to build social relationships. So we're going to go to my first one. Pretty much the main reason we all have a Facebook is to compare everything. We pretty much brag about our lives and we show how our life is better than everyone else's. That's the point of Facebook, okay? We compare everything to photos, to the number of likes on statuses, to the number of friends we have, okay? So here's an example. From a chart of 100 social network statistics for 2012, the average user has 229 friends. First question you probably ask is, do I have more friends than them? Just no. It doesn't matter at all. It really doesn't matter. It's just a number. And the max you probably talk to, maybe 100. It doesn't matter, okay? And of your Facebook friends that you have, there's going to be haters, right? Haters are going to hate, and haters harass. Online harassing is cyberbullying, okay? I'm going to go ahead and define that. Cyberbullying. It involves the use of the internet and related technologies to harm other people in a deliberate, repeated, and hostile manner. The PEW Research Center, it had this survey, and it pretty much said that social network users are more likely to report cyberbullying. Of the social network users, 39% have experienced it. I don't know if you guys have heard the story about Amanda Todd. She was this girl, she posted a YouTube video, and pretty much she didn't say anything, she had all these signs, and it was a cry for help. She pretty much told her life story about how she was bullied on Facebook, she had explicit photos, and she was blackmailed and harassed constantly. After she posted the video, she committed suicide. Amanda Todd, she was 15 years old, and this is not the first time it's happened. Leif Dente, he was a researcher from Gothenburg Research Center. He pretty much asked the question, does Facebook relate to happiness? Pretty much what he figured out is the more time you spend on Facebook, the more you perceive your Facebook friends have better lives than you. He also noted that women, the more time you spend on Facebook, the less happy and less content you are with life. Not men, just the women, so stop Facebook stalking your exes. The second point, social networks, they distract students from school. I want you to think real quick, how much time you spend daily on Facebook, alright? Leif Dente, the same guy from the Gothenburg Research Facility, he noticed that on average, 81, women spend 81 minutes on Facebook a day, and men spend 64 minutes average a day. That's one day. What can you do for 81 minutes on Facebook for one day? I think Dr. Rob Cover, he's a media expert at the University of Adelaide. He worded it perfectly when he said that the issue is not about social networking being addictive, but rather than an outlet for procrastination. I know for me, it's impossible for me to do homework while I have Facebook open in the other tab. Paul Kirshner, he's a professor at Open University of Netherlands. He did a study comparing the GPAs of Facebook users and non-Facebook users. And he figured out that the Facebook users have a GPA of 3.06, which is pretty good, and the non-Facebook users have a GPA of 3.82. There's a huge difference. That's a B- and a B+ right there. Candace Keller, she's a professor at the University of Adelaide. She created the study about Facebook distractions. She pretty much found out that 80% of the students who took the study agreed that Facebook is a distraction from school. 25% of those that took the study agreed that their grades were being affected by Facebook. My last point is that social networks fail to build social relationships. Basically, social networks are substituting for the traditional kind of human contact. From that chart of 100 social network statistics in 2012, there's a number that says that 40% socialize more online than they do face-to-face. Facebook, it pretty much isn't used to meet new people, honestly. I hope not. If you want to try it out, go ahead and go on Facebook, find a girl or a guy that you really want to talk to. add them, see if they add you. It's not gonna happen, let you know that right now. Let's go back to the beginning. Let's go back to me. Most likely, you guys don't remember anything about me. Maybe my name, my first name, maybe. I'm just like your Facebook friend, okay? You may like one of my statuses in the end because of, I'm funny and awesome and stuff, but that's probably it. That's the only interaction we're gonna have, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and recap this for you guys. 1, social networking, it's damaging the students' images. 2, it's distracting from school. 3, it doesn't build relationships correctly. And yeah, I believe these are all valid reasons for affecting student behavior. Thank you.
All right, I like the idea of the bio of yourself at the beginning. The problem is that you're kind of rushing through it and you have a tendency to look down, and you've got a distracting thing that you're doing for the first 2 minutes of the speech. You're pounding on the podium every time you make some particular point. It's like, and when you watch it back, you'll see. I think you stop a couple minutes into the speech, but it needs to stop earlier than that. I thought that you had a pretty clear statement of what your proposition was, a very good layout of what the secondary points were, so it's going to be easy to follow, and you signposted those pretty well as also. Sometimes the transitions between those points could be a little bit smoother, but I didn't think that I was ever lost in what you were talking about. I do think that there are a whole bunch of presuppositions about Facebook that need a little bit more development here. For example, the idea that everybody is going on it for the purpose of competition or matching themselves up compared to everybody else, or for instance that they're going on it for the purpose of meeting other people, finding a woman to romance or some guy that you can hit on. I'm not sure that those are the functions that most people see as being useful for Facebook. And I would assume that there's probably some data about those kinds of things in a couple of the statistical references that you cite. I did think that you had good information on a couple of points. For instance, that there is a report of cyberbullying on Facebook, and you had a statistic that went with that. The difference on the grade scores on the GPA, that's interesting information. I don't know that it is statistically significant, but I do think that it does suggest that people who use Facebook may be more distracted, but that doesn't necessarily mean that Facebook is the thing that's causing the distraction. They might simply just be looking for something else to do. Facebook, for instance, is a distraction for me. If I didn't have it, then I would just have to mow the lawn, instead of actually grade your stuff. Because I got a stack of stuff to grade. What can I do first? Facebook's not available? I'll go mow the lawn. I'll play with the dogs. The question is, do people do more of that stuff? Do they delay things more? Do they do less work because of Facebook? Or is it just another one of the distractions? I think that's one of the problems that you've got going on there. All right. You do have a tendency, like I said, to look down while you're speaking, and I think sometimes you rush your ideas. You need to pace yourself out a little bit as a speaker, and I think it'll be clearer and it'll increase your credibility too. But I like the quotes that you had. I thought you did a good job on that, and you usually cited your information pretty thoroughly. All right.